lot of people, businesses who pay money, like, actually this was the whole idea behind my presentation, is how the money I spent on advertising is wasted on the chat. So when you have business goals, like generating revenue, customers, etc., and you don't marry them with your campaign goals, and lots of people don't, how can you ever understand success? So I'm going to talk a little bit about baselines and what performance looks like when you're not a campaign, and then incremental changes up and down, and then you kind of coach that get you really there. Another thing that's always a really difficult thing to do is to get you around to forecasting. How much media do I give my agents, and how much media do I put into Google, Facebook, etc. There's some basic forecasting skills in here for which I suppose what everyone gets out of this is an idea of the empowerment that you have control over your metrics. You can say, what's the revenue per like? What is the conversion per impression? So these are unusual metrics, the metrics that people don't really talk about. But you can make them up. You can actually apply a value, a business value, a real tangible business value, like revenue, conversion, etc., to a campaign value. To have them in isolation or in a vacuum is just looking at like cost per click, which is an example I gave earlier. It's like cost per click is the cost you pay Google per click on Google. But if you use cost per click as a leveraging mechanism to understand how to forecast for your media investment based on a real business goal like conversion, etc., so yeah, as I mentioned, these are some just not common metrics, but ideas, and just think of them ideas and discover your own business goals, your own business metrics, and just apply them to the standard campaign metrics across Facebook, Google, Twitter, Bing, etc. Yeah, so as I said, they try to break all those. So basic formulas, right? So these are not the formulas I'm actually going to talk about. This is more advanced forecasting. It's not advanced forecasting. You can advance them as you see fit, as you put extra things into the form. And we'll get on to that kind of advanced level forecasting towards the end. We'll then talk about attribution modeling, which is what is the value of the thing, and then we'll talk about some future predictions or maybe tie it all together. So yeah, things like this are important for forecasting, but this one is super important. One is important. Measure campaign metrics over time and use past metrics to forecast future performance on things. So you've heard that in like insurance ads and all this kind of thing. Past performance is not a measure of future success, but what it is benchmark, and it kind of chucks it into a ballpark that allows you to broadly measure towards, with a slight variance of 10 to 15% based on your own experience and your own historical measurement. But measure everything over time. So I suppose the two types of campaigns we have are direct response campaigns. I want you to do this, add, click, result, So that would more than likely be, measured into revenue generated directly from the campaign. You can say, I spent 500 quid and I got 10,000 euro back, etc. It's quite straightforward. A lot of that stuff is based on the last attribution model, which is easy to understand and simplistic, but not always appropriate for the larger things like awareness of brand, non-PR campaigns. I like to know that fantastic measurement of awareness campaigns is brand uplift in your searches. So if you look at a brand search term and you run an awareness campaign, you still need to use brand search going up. You didn't do anything different to your brand search. The only thing that changed that particular baseline is the awareness activity you kind of have over. So if you understand your baseline for how your brand should look, throughout the year, and then you acted upon it, it's not actually really mind-blowing stuff. Empower yourself to believe that this is the way that you should be looking at your campaign. The baseline based on historical reference and historical performance it's a statistically robust baseline, so measure incremental up and downs from it. And then, understand those incremental up and downs based on, the campaign metrics which apply to different aspects of that baseline changes. But yeah, baseline is defined by you, how you keep business metrics, not campaign metrics, business metrics. So, when you're
1, 2, 2, 1, 2.
So, here's a scenario. It's how many likes do we need? So you'd often hear, like, I might drop this. Can anyone hear me, or will I talk through this? Like this? Excellent. Okay. So here's a scenario. How many likes do we need? So when I used to work in agencies, you get like, we want 10,000 followers. You want what? But like my question to always that was why, and the reason, and no one could ever say why. It's just like my boss wants that. Wants loads of likes on Facebook. Facebook's cool. My daughter's on it, etc. So. But if you can apply an actual business metric to, say, like a campaign metric, like a like or a follower, the value of a follower, and you can work it out. You can work out the value of a follower, but just crunching some numbers, going, this is what my baseline looked like when I was at this amount of followers. I've incrementally improved by this amount of followers, and this is what my baseline looks like there. Now, if it's a negative, we're in a bit of trouble. We can't apply. Then the metric is not the correct metric to apply to this understanding. But I suppose the difficulty with all of this is trying to teach understanding of what you're trying to achieve. But again, that goes down to your baseline. So so if your business goal is £1,000 in revenue, cost per like is €1, revenue per like is 150. So I actually have it in my notes here, and I can't see. I wish I could see the actual sums, but it's something like, I think off the top of my head, the media investment for this would be €666. Because to generate €1,000 worth of likes, you have to divide it by cost per like, which would be 666, multiplied by 1, which is the cost for one like. So your media investment in this instance should be £660. How many impressions do I need? Right, so this is important when you're doing something like a premium display campaign, and you can broadly, based on previous campaign performance, again, back to that campaign performance thing, where's the guy at the time, that, if you divide your business goal by your revenue per 1,000 impressions, because you have to remember that everything, CPM, which is cost per media, is cost per 1,000 impressions, so you have to work to the business metric, the campaign metric to fit your business metric. So basically, if you need to do a premium display campaign, you can work out the the revenue per 1,000 impressions based on previous performance, up and down from your baseline, divided by your impressions your revenue per 1,000 impressions multiplied by your CPM, and that is how much media you need to invest. Now, if your CPM is higher than you would expect, and it comes out that you're going to have a negative ROI, that allows you to critique the campaign and say, this is the correct channel for me? It may not be. So I think using your company baselines and using your understanding of your business goals allows you to set expectations for whether a campaign is actually the correct campaign or the correct channel for you to use. How many clicks do I need is similar to how many impressions, so we're actually going to skip that one. But this one is one I like in particular because everyone uses multi-channel, and we use a number of different channels to mix our our overall marketing activities. So if you know that your paid traffic represents 25% of all of your traffic mix, okay, first of all you work out your traffic required, which is your conversions divided by your conversion rate. So you've got a 10% conversion rate, you need to get 10 sales, you need to generate 100 clicks, okay? If 25% of your traffic is paid media, then 25% of 100 will be 25, so 25 of those clicks need to be coming from paid media. If the cost per click is 55 cents, so what I'm trying to give you is just an understanding that there's a couple of things you can pin your hat on. Your traffic mix is one, your campaign metrics like your cost per click and your cost per impression another, but marry them all to your business goals and then understand your media investment. And that's a really, I like this in particular because what's added is the third dimension, which is your traffic mix. But that can be anything. That can be percentage brand uplift in searches. That can be another aspect. So you can keep building and building and building. Sorry, my mic technique is terrible. Did you know that Mick Hucknall from Simply Red has a really perfect mic technique? That's a tidbit, just so you know. I'm clearly not Mick Hucknall from Simply Red. But something like this I'd recommend as a thought provoker, as a stimulator for how much do I spend? Like if someone, I remember when I worked in agencies, someone would come along and say, oh, we have 100 grand to spend on a campaign. We'd be like, great.
but I can actually tell you why and what you should do with it. Like, you know what I mean? By using this now, I don't work in agency anymore. Like, so don't ask me to do any work. I teach. So, going to talk now about attribution models. So, attribution models is how you understand your media investment. So, as I mentioned earlier, last click conversions is, you know, you'll see it in search. You know, keyword cost 20 quid, it generated one conversion, that's cost per conversion of €20. Very simplistic. One of my old clients was Bus Air years and years and years ago, and when we ran TV campaigns, the brand search would go through the roof. So that's why I'd always recommend looking at your brand search uplift as a measurement, as a benchmark for, you know, external campaigns, whether it's radio or print or TV. Any of these kind of more difficult campaigns to judge, pin them against something you can judge, you know, and your brand uplift in brand search is a perfect example of that. So last click attribution modeling for me as a paid media manager in the agency was great, because I'd be like, yeah, I'm getting like a 5,000% ROI, but we just dropped 50k in the TV ad. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. So last click can be a little bit simplistic. Post impression is one of the things that the programmatic guys give you. You see an ad and someone converts down the line through another medium. In Google they call it view through conversions. It's kind of okay. It's okay for understanding your awareness campaigns, but in another way it gives too much credit to your awareness campaign, so you have to maybe put a little multiplier on it and say divide it by 50% or something like that. Just, you know, a little bit of this, but you know, enough of those and you do get an understanding of what actually is the correct framework and range to work within in terms of your deviation. Post click is like post impressions, so someone clicks, doesn't convert, then they come back later and converts another way. Bit more easier to tie to your campaign activity. It's always worth considering. And then there's advanced attribution models like time decay, position based, linear, and Google are introducing you can get all these in Google Analytics, by the way. It's just one of the ones. So there are a number of Google Analytics accredited agencies around the world and stuff like that. You know, go talk to them. They'll say this is the best model for you, or they'll define a model for you, and they'll tag up your website and all this kind of stuff. So that stuff it's not exceptionally cheap, but if you do want to, if you've got like a multiple touch point customer journey, which if you're a car manufacturer you might, or if you're a, you know, I suppose a considered purchase, like, you know, something that costs a couple €1,000 with time or etc., you might want to invest in that. So Google Analytics accredited companies are useful for that kind of thing. Future trends. So I'm nearly finished, by the way. I know we did a little bit of sums, but we can talk about them in a minute. So if any of you guys use CRMs, you can push your CRM customer ID into Google Analytics. You can, you know, push it into the first party cookie, which then can be, you know, assigned to a user ID in Universal Analytics, and then that can be attributed. So every time a customer comes back again and again and again, you've got this one, you know, self-contained cookie. The guy's looking at me, and you can essentially get that multi-touch point journey. Then you can define your attribution model. Say, look, they came in a search click, they saved for this amount of time. Now, this is not easy, but it is doable. All you have to do is crunch the numbers and understand where to pin your hat. And there's certain ways, just, I suppose, from my perspective, I measure everything. And the more I measure, the more I understand. And that is just simply, you know, the way to proceed. So, another thing that I suppose is useful, and this will happen with Facebook in the coming years, they just bought a company called Atlas. So Atlas is a third-party, it's an ad exchange. So, you know, when you see Facebook ads, they're generally on Facebook. But when you're on Facebook, you log into Facebook, you've elected to give all your customer details, because otherwise your friends will go, you're a weirdo, you're not a woman, and you're not 110. You know, so, you know, there's a lot of honesty in Facebook, in the customer profiling. What Atlas will allow you to do is really demographically target people, that Facebook persona out in the web, outside of the world of Facebook, which is really powerful. And this is something that's going to be coming down the line the next year or two. So Atlas is definitely something to kind of consider, and that kind of logged in environment that, you know, you do have that actual customer data, because with the likes of Google Display Network, you have inferred data, you've got, you know, understanding data, but it's not as real as Facebook. They haven't logged in, you know, it's just kind of what Google understands. Now Google understands a lot, but it doesn't understand everything, whereas Facebook really does get it. but unfortunately at the moment Facebook's logged in environment is pretty much within Facebook and a couple of partner sites, so Atlas will really change that. On the last, on the last seminar, someone asked about how to track offline sales. So POS, like point of sale integrations with your CRM, with user IDs, with multiple touch points, with all these things, it's all being stitched together. Yesterday at Google's Performance Summit, they announced a whole load of changes to their 360 analytics suite. Some of it is coming for free, which is really, really amazing. So there will be one of their products being released for free that you can build all these reports and tie in your CRM data, your offline data, and your AdWords data. So that's going to happen in the next 8 months, according to it. Now it was only announced yesterday, so but it'll be happening in around the next 8 months. And this kind of thing will allow you to measure. Again, I just talked about cost per like, but what about cost per store visit? The value of a store visit, the value of a map lookup, all these different things. So we're suddenly seeing wider human metrics being brought to business goals and campaign metrics, and this is the way to really, I suppose, to proceed. And while I know we did talk some sums and we did talk some ideas and stuff like that, what I'm hoping from this is that you guys get an idea and feel empowered that you can make up those metrics. You can, and it's not, I suppose make up is a bad choice of words. You can apply those metrics and feel that, because of your historical performance, you can do it efficiently and effectively and all that stuff. The guy just waited.